Hi ho, folks, and welcome back to another adventure of Turwinkle, the Gnome Mage. Well, hi, Turwinkle.
Hi there.
Are you all set for tonight?
Affirmative.
Well, great, because tonight is a very special night. As you can tell, we are here in Ironforge, and we are going to be meeting the guild, the Gnomeregan Forever Guild. So, I know I am excited as well, Turwinkle. This is a very popular guild here on Wormrest Accord, and we can't wait to meet them. So without further ado, we're going to try to find them here in Ironforge. And so we are going to head off. So here we go. Alrighty, folks. Well, we've hopped on Glen as we're walking around looking for the... Oh, right around the corner. And here they are. Holy smokes. Boy, look at this, folks. A wonderful, wonderful display. As we come up here, the Gnomeregan Forever Guild. This is wonderful. Turwinkle has never seen such an awesome sight before. This is great. And so we have... Hello. We have the commanding officer of Gnomeregan Forever, level 90 Gnome Warlock, and that is Forbidra. Hello.
Salutations.
It's wonderful. I see you brought a fantastic display with you here today of gnomish technology, and this is great. I am loving this lineup here. This is wonderful. Let me pan out here a little bit. This looks great. You guys did a fantastic job here. This looks wonderful.
You're too kind.
All right.
You just missed our weekly guild meeting.
Oh, well, shoot. Well, we will have to try to make one of those, and because this is just great. Now, let's see. Your other officer here is Lieutenant Brixie Berrybit, nicknamed Brix, Lieutenant of Gnomeregan Forever, level 90 Gnome Warlock, and currently amused by the funny-looking little Murloc in armor. What little Murloc in armor, ma'am, are you referring to in your...
I just got the Merc a lot.
Oh, wonderful.
And he's actually a very amusing little guy.
Well, great. And also we have Lieutenant, is it Tridrina? Tridrina?
Tridina.
Tridina. Quick Cipher, Point Defense Specialist and Lieutenant, nickname Drina or Trid, who's Lieutenant of the Gnomeregan Forever, level 90 Gnome Warrior, and currently happy. Wonderful. Excellent to meet. Now, is this all your officers here with you this evening?
Yes. Lieutenants Brixie and Tridina are my officers.
Well, wonderful. So, folks, what we're going to do next when we come back is we are going to meet the wonderful folks that have come here to join us for the interview tonight. So we'll be right back with that. All right, folks, and we are back, and we are going to meet some of the fine folks of Gnomeregan Forever. And so for Bidra, let's see who we've brought with you today.
All right. Directly in front of us here is Ensign Glitterspaz, a longtime member.
Nice.
Right next door, we've got Ensign Geardo. Ensign Fixton. Ensign Fidget. All right, Ensign Voidwrench. Ensign Frazzles. Ensign Laroon. Ensign Cotterbit. Private Kitty Maid. Ensign Tima here, another longtime member. Ensign Glick. Ensign Hexnut. Private Jinx. Ensign Pippinell. Ensign Renzo. Ensign Bullamar, and Ensign Xiaolong.
Well, fantastic. A wonderful group here that you've brought with you today, and they all look like a great bunch.
This is what these are the folks that came to our guild meeting this week. Obviously, we have quite a few more members, but not everybody can make it on Saturdays.
Sure. All right. This is awesome.
So as you can guess, I'm quite proud of my tiny troopers.
Well, I can see why, sir. They are a great, great looking bunch. So, folks, when we come back, we're going to learn all about this wonderful gnome guild. So, we'll be right back with that. Alrighty, folks, and we are back. And so, Forbes, one of the first questions that we ask, Turwinkle and I, is how did you come up with the name Gnomeregan Forever?
An interesting question. Well, since I was planning on having us become a gnomish citizens militia, I was trying to think of a name that was moderately uh, patriotic and one that a militia might choose for themselves. And this particular name just kind of jumped out at me after several days of thought, and that was mostly it. It works on a couple of different levels, not only because uh, Gnomeregan Forever implies that the members of our guild uh, think about their home city, uh, eternally, and are anxious to get back there. And it also sort of implies that they are Gnomeregans, citizens. They consider themselves citizens of Gnomeregan. So I felt the name worked pretty well.
Awesome. And so, when you were thinking of the concept for the guild, did you do that on your own, or were you with some friends? How did you start the guild?
It was primarily my own idea, but it was one of those things that, as I mentioned in the WoW Insider article, it was really several ideas and thoughts that kind of meshed together into something that I just ended up having to do. There, I felt I had a good gnome character in Forbes, and I wanted more gnomes to RP with, and it was just difficult to find them, and as well as the fact that I was a little fed up, and I'm sure you've run into this in your adventures with Turwinkle, that gnomes are not always greatly respected both by the player base and by Blizzard themselves, and so consequently I wanted a guild that would show other people what gnomes were capable of doing. So that was another motivation I had, and simply the fact that I wanted to belong to this really awesome gnome racial guild, and such a thing just basically didn't exist. And I finally realized that if it was going to, I was going to have to get in gear and make it happen.
Well, wonderful. And exactly true, what you said there was that, yeah, gnomes aren't really respected. You hear gnome punting mentioned all the time, that sort of thing. When you see a gnome warrior, people automatically dismiss you as not being able to, A, play as a warrior, or B, be a serious, a serious threat. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that started out that way?
Well, I don't want to sound too negative, but to be honest, a good part of the player base are young men. And I think that they really feel that gnomes are just not macho enough to be an avatar for them. Okay, and consequently, they kind of think with their hind brains in this respect, in that they equate, size with power. And since gnomes are small and cute, it doesn't matter how intelligent they are. That just doesn't, that's just not good enough for them in that respect. And consequently, they don't give us a lot of respect. And also, you have to stop and think too that with quests like gnome obliteration, when Blizzard pokes fun at the gnomes, the player base takes a lot of their cues from Blizzard themselves, and so it's just kind of a feedback loop.
Very, very well answered, sir. So, folks, when we come back, we're going to find out really what the core basis is for Gnomeregan Forever, what their RP is about. So, we'll be right back with that. And we're back, and you had something to add onto that as well.
Well, you kind of touched on the question about gnomes not getting a great deal of respect, and I have to kind of put a caveat onto that. This is Worm Rest Accord. This isn't just any old server, and I have to admit that it's been a very long time. In fact, I can't even remember the last time that somebody used a lame slash punt emote in my immediate vicinity. So I mean, there are even horde guilds on the other side who treat us with a great deal of respect. I often see on the forums people say, "Oh, G4, I love you guys," and so consequently, I really do feel that gnomes get a much better treatment on Wormrest Accord than perhaps they do elsewhere, and I really do feel that guilds like G4 and Order of the Golden Gear have a great deal to do with that. We've actually been out there in front of people's faces, and we've done fun things, and we've hosted events, and these types of things garner respect in the eyes of the player base, and that's kind of really part of what we set out to do. We're hoping to show the rest of the player base just what gnomes are capable of doing, and I feel to a certain extent we've succeeded.
Well, and that is exactly number one of the reasons why I wanted to interview you guys. And in fact, why I wanted to start doing guild interviews was because of you folks. I really wanted to uh, do this with you guys because I like you said in the forums, you're very well respected, and on the server as well. And so this is just a treat for me. And one of the main reasons why I started doing guild interviews was because of Gnomeregan Forever, in hopes of getting you folks in front of the camera here and talking with us. And I have to also go back to what you said about Worm Rest Accord. I have to agree completely with you in the respect that Worm Rest Accord is really, to me, one of the best RP servers in the game. And they really do well in respect for one another in the community, and allowing people to use their RP and not poking fun at it or looking down their noses at it. And it's such a great community here that allows everybody the opportunity, especially guilds, the opportunity to interact in the community. And so, I have to agree completely with you on that.
I have to agree as well because it's such a great server. It's the only server that I play on, and there's so many awesome guilds on this realm. It's really hard to choose when you're rolling a character, and so I'm just proud that I that we can count ourselves among them.
Wonderful. Folks, we'll be right back with some questions about this great guild. All right, and we are back. And so, Forbes, what is Gnomeregan Forever about? What is your RP?
Well, from an in-character standpoint, Gnomeregan Forever is a citizens militia. Our Forbes's goal is ultimately the liberation of Gnomeregan, and she has uh, begun recruiting members of the refugee community into a loose citizens militia, as I say, with the goal of turning them into a fighting force capable of helping the Gnomish military achieve their goals.
Well, wonderful. And so, do you consider your guild's RP to be heavy, medium, or light RP?
We're more RP casual, meaning that we RP a bit in guild chat. We have occasional in character events, and we like to join with others, you know, face to face, and join other guilds, RP events, and what have you. But that's pretty much it. There aren't any heavy storylines, for example, as you might find in a more heavily RP oriented guild.
A lot of people would assume, again, and we touched on this earlier, that because you're a gnome guild, that it's automatically all just comedic RP. Uh, do you find that to be the case?
No, not at all. I mean, at least not in the case of our members. I mean, don't get me wrong. Gnomes like to have fun, and Gnome RP is about as fun as legally allowed. But that said, good gnome role players don't automatically fall into those gnomish stereotypes. The absent-minded, brilliant inventor who has an invention in his pocket for every possible situation. Okay, that's fine for a beginning role player who's just learning the ropes and what have you. But accomplished role players, they're going to want to bring more depth to their character, and it's wonderful to see that reflected in our members and other gnomish role players that we meet out in the streets and in the world.
You bet. And I think, especially for Turwinkle and I, we try to portray that as well. We're not, uh, like you said, just that squeaky little guy that is running in circles. We certainly have tried to portray the gnomes as a viable race that actually has more than just that stereotypical gnome attitude to offer to the world of Warcraft. So great. So folks, we'll be right back with some more questions about Gnomeregan Forever. Alrighty, folks, and we're back. And so, Forbes, how big is Gnomeregan Forever? How many members do you have?
Well, there are currently, it looks like, 267 gnomes in G4. That said, obviously a good number of those are alts, um, and what have you. So I would say probably nearly 200 individual accounts are registered with G4, and we've been in business now for just over 3 years.
Oh, well, wonderful. And that is a pretty good sized guild. Now, are you looking to let it grow organically, or are you going to put a cap on how many members you have? How are you going to run that?
At this time, we don't have a plans to put a cap on the guild. I do limit the number of alts that people are allowed to have in the guild, just in an effort to make sure that we don't have like a thousand gnomes in the guild and only 200 people,
Right.
which could happen because I have found that many of our members not only love gnomes, that they love gnomes so much that they roll almost nothing else. So at one time, we had a member who had 7 or 8 alts in the guild, and I finally realized, hey, no, I gotta rein that in. So I get a little pushback from the memberships about about the gnome cap, as we call it. But that said, we are a good medium-sized guild, and we have no plan. It's my desire to provide a home for any awesome gnome who needs one. Okay, granted, we have certain requirements
Sure.
for our members, but that said, I don't want to turn anybody away for who otherwise meets our requirements.
Alrighty, and I guess we can go ahead and go over those. Uh, Obviously, do you only accept gnomes in Gnomeregan Forever?
That's correct. Yes, only gnomes.
Alrighty. And is there an age limit a real life
No,
age
there is
limit?
not. What I don't want this to sound too intimidating, but Forbes interviews each applicant individually, and the goal of that interview is to find out if that gnome is a if that gnome that player is a good fit for our guild. And one of the things I look for is maturity. I don't look at chronological age because I'll be frank here, chronological age is not always a good indicator of maturity.
Well,
And consequently, we have had members as young as 12 years old, and we've had grandparents. Most of our members are obviously somewhere in between, but what we look for is maturity, not necessarily chronological age.
all right. And do they have to be a certain level?
Nope. Uh, I don't look for levels or epic gear or achievements or whether somebody's a great role player or whether they're a PvPer or those types of things are temporary uh, statistics. Okay, they don't really matter. What I'm looking for, the formula that has been key to our success, is looking for quality people. I'm looking for good people, not necessarily good players.
Well, excellent. And so, folks, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more how to get into Gnomeregan Forever. So we'll be right back with that. Alrighty, sir. Well, say I am a new player. I've seen the episode. I've made a gnome. How do I get into Gnomeregan Forever? Who do I talk to?
Well, it's a pretty simple uh, equation to solve. Just talk with Lieutenant Tredina there, Lieutenant Brixie, or myself, and mention that you're interested in joining the guild, and we'll set you up with an interview. And just be prepared to talk about yourself. Where it's not an intimidating interview. You don't have to know a great deal of lore. You don't need to have great equipment or a certain amount of levels. Just say, hey, I'd like to join the guild, and then we'll sit down and we'll talk with you with the goal of trying to find out if the guild and the player are a good match for each other. That's basically all we're really looking for, because it is an interview is a two-way street, because not only it's not a situation where where somebody else needs to meet our requirements. We need to meet theirs as well. So it's important to me to find out what the players needs and expectations are with respect to a guild, and then ascertain whether or not we can provide that, because I really want people to be happy with the guild that they join, even if it's not G4.
Well, wonderful. I've talked to a lot of guilds, and and that is an excellent answer. Because again, I think you're right. It definitely has to be that two-way street. Because okay, I've made a gnome, but if I don't like what you guys have to offer, I'm not going to be happy. And if I'm not happy, then that doesn't make for a good guild environment when you have unhappy people in it. So, excellent.
Precisely. Well, it's not only a situation that that it'll create drama or anything. That's not so much what I'm worried about. What I'm more interested in is for people to be happy with their decisions, because joining a guild is kind of a big thing. You're putting yourself in the middle of a whole new group of people, and if those people don't think like you do, who don't kind of share your same values, then you're going to be uncomfortable in that group, and you're not going to be happy, and chances are you're going to leave someday. You're just going to up and disappear, and that's not what we want. We want our members to be happy here, and so consequently, like I say, it's a two-way street.
Well, excellent. So, folks, when we come back, we have made it into the guild, and we'll find out what happens when you get into the guild. So we'll be right back with that. Alrighty, folks, and we've had a few people show up here, and so let's meet them as well here.
All right, we've got Ensign Renzo here, another longtime member.
Alrighty.
sometimes known as Goggle Boy.
Okay.
Ensign Yabe.
All right.
And finally, Ensign Marvinta.
Well, wonderful. Thank you, folks, for showing up for the interview as well. It's always good to have more gnomes. That's what I do. That's what I always say. The more gnomes, the better.
Okay, shoo shoo, back to your spots. Back in formation.
Alrighty. So I have passed the interview. I am a gnome, and I'm in now Gnomeregan Forever. What rules do you have within the guild? What rules do I have to follow?
Well, our rules are really very simple, and in fact, we only have about 2 of them, but I'm very keen on them. So, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is to become very familiar with Blizzard's posted RP Realm policy and respect it. Specifically, that means no RP griefing or trolling. And as long as you can live by that, then we go right on to our second rule, which is another very simple and common sense related thing. Treat other people with respect, both inside and outside the guild. Okay? Because it doesn't take many people with a bad attitude to ruin a guild's reputation. And I like to think that we've got a good reputation here on Wormrest Accord, and that's thanks due to, well, all the wonderful people you see behind me and a great deal more.
All right. Well, that's great. Yeah, that seems to be a good running theme in the guilds that I've talked to and the guilds that I've seen and dealt with on Wormrest Accord. Is that everybody seems to be very respectful towards one another, and you don't see a whole lot of trolling here on Wormrest Accord, which is makes for a wonderful community. So, folks, when we come back, we're going to talk about, now that we're in the guild, how the guild is organized, what the ranks are, and how you progress in maybe becoming a leader, or not the leader, because I don't think they're going to coup you, sir. But how you get maybe to become maybe become an officer within the guild. So we'll be right back with that. All right, and we are back. And so now that I'm in the guild, how is your guild organized? What kind of guild ranks do you have?
Well, new members, in your case, you would come in as a recruit. After a short probation, after you demonstrate that you've learned the rules and you've been around for a little while, you can expect to be promoted to the rank of private. Private is a member in good standing who is below level 85. Once you reach level 85, you'll be promoted to ensign, and that is basically the highest normal rank. Now, if you want to talk about officers, then we're talking about the lieutenants, Brixie and Tridina here. And I'll be honest. I don't hand out officerships like candy, like some people do in other guilds. It takes devotion above and beyond the call of duty to earn an officership, and it takes even more work to keep it. So our officers understand that they have responsibilities, and if they don't fulfill them, then they can lose that officership. That said, we're always looking for new people and new officers, people who've got what it takes to help lead a gnome guild and take it where no gnome guild has gone before. And you know that's kind of basically the way it works. I look at officers as co-guild leaders. This isn't one of those guilds where it's my way or the highway. Okay, I'm looking for people who have heads on their shoulders, good ideas, and people who are willing to roll up their sleeves and do some work and help us do the awesome things that we do.
Wonderful. That sounds excellent, because again, like you said, a lot of guilds, they do sometimes tend to do that, don't they? Just kind of hand out officer positions, and then they find that their guild is running in 5 different directions and they're not all going in the same same direction as you would like the guild to go. So it sounds like you have a very firm grasp on how the guild's organized and where you're going.
I'm sure most people have been in guilds where, the guild leader hands out positions to his cronies and what have you, and they those officers don't actually really do any work or anything. They just, lord it over the other members. It's like that's not really my way. Now that said, G4 isn't a democracy either. I'm not going to do something that I feel that is against the best interests of the guild just because a majority wants it. But I do want to hear from our members, and that's one of the reasons why we have these weekly guild meetings. So it's our members' a, a time to get my undivided attention, bring up any issues that they feel need to be addressed, whether it be, complaints about how I'm doing something or what have you. And I'm perfectly willing to listen and especially, try and find, other ideas from our members on how we can improve.
Wonderful. So, folks, when we come back, we're going to talk about what kind of events and things happen within Gnomeregan Forever. And we are back, and we have Trid and Brixie here, Brix. And so, Trid, do you folks have? I'm in the guild. What do I have to look forward to as far as guild meetings and weekly events?
Well, we have our guild meeting like every Saturday at 8th server, and basically we discuss the events of what's happening in the week and what's coming up. This is where we bring up concerns and try to keep up morale and keeping people appraised of what's important to people and like of other events. Um, I tend to run the retro raid night, which is something we do every Friday at 6 server, and where we take on old expansions, old raiding events, and we go in that. Um, Beside that, we also tend to have like events like Professions Night, and where we try to help each other level our professions and also do things to benefit the guild. We also do giveaways, like we give away prizes, and also we do impromptu RP events. We try to coordinate with other guilds and have interplay between them. Like one of our favorite ones is meeting in Cathedral Square for the Coffee Gnome event, which is a big event where we all just stand in line and pretend we're all buying coffee. And it's a great launching point for um, RP. We also do like one of our members had a pie event, which was all about celebrating pie. We also do club tricks, and we set up laser shows for them because we love that, and people are naturally attracted to gnomes. So we start bringing out the focusing gems and just attract a crowd. It's a lot of fun. I'll hand this off to Brixie now.
All right. And so, Brixie, what kind of special events do you folks do? Do you have any special events that the guild does?
Every year in, I believe it's September, we have the 4 days of G4, which is our anniversary for the guild. And we have 4 days set aside to do typical gnomish things. Um, Probably the most popular event we have is Gnome Darts, where we uh, will summon people to the Altar of Storms in Northrend, cast Levitate on them, and then invite them to jump off and gracefully plummet to their death. It's kind of a strange thing to hear until you actually try it, because you have to try and get as close to the target as you can. And I believe this year we had into the very low single digits, which I think is the best we've ever had. And
We had one contestant actually land 4 gnome steps away from the target, and this is a quite distant target, let me tell you. So yeah, it was pretty spectacular. I think we're going to have to up the difficulty level
Wonderful.
next year.
Wonderful. All right, folks. So when we come back, we're going to talk to a few of the members about what they enjoy about being in Gnomeregan Forever. So we'll be right back with that. Alrighty, folks, and we're at probably one of my favorite parts of the interview, where we get to talk to individual members and find out what they enjoy about being in their respective guilds. Because, again, there are so many guilds out there that literally you could have chosen any guild to join on the Alliance side here on Warm Rest Accord. But we want to find out why you are here in Gnomeregan Forever and what keeps you here. And so the first person up is Glitter Spaz, Storm Shard. He's head of the family. What does that mean, head of the family?
Basically, when her family, when what was left of her family escaped for Gnomeregan, she was the only one. She was the oldest one left.
Okay. Nicknamed Spazzy Glitter is an ensign of Gnomeregan Forever. Level 90, gnome mage. Currently tired, but in a good mood. Why is she tired?
It was an RP story for the character. Basically, I did something that's kind of metagame because I wanted to get rid of my Death Knight. So she has a sister named Gnome Doom, and I decided to take Gnome Doom off of being a Death Knight and make her a warrior. So basically, the character's storyline is she did something that was able to bring her back to life.
Oh, wonderful. That sounds great. And so, sir, what do you enjoy about being in Gnomeregan Forever?
If I'm going to be real honest about it, it's going to be dealing with the people that I do deal with. Brixie, Forbes, Tread, all of them are just a blast to hang out with. We just get some of the craziest stuff going on all the time, and it's just real fun that way.
Well, wonderful. Excellent answer, sir. Thank you very much. Alrighty, up next is Wenzo Data Spanner. Clockwork Rogue, nicknamed Goggles or Goggle Boy, is a private of Gnomeregan Forever, a level 86 Drawneye Rogue. Now, were you a Drawneye at some point? Okay, and you're currently happy to be with the guild, which is wonderful, because that goes right to our question: why are you happy, and why are you in Gnomeregan Forever? What keeps you here?
What keeps me here is one of two things. One, just the sheer diversity of people. It's incredibly accepting. It's fun. You get anywhere from seasoned hardcore RP vets to the newbie level ones that just rolled to see what it was like. Where it's very broad, and it's just a good collection of people.
All right. Well, excellent answer, sir. Thank you very much. All right, up next is Zhao Long, nicknamed Little Dragon. Ensign of Gnomeregan Forever, is a level 90 gnome monk, and currently, all seriousness aside. Again, I love that quote. That is a wonderful quote. And so, what do you enjoy about being in Gnomeregan Forever?
Well, of course, the people. I mean, that's what the whole guild is about, people and enjoying yourself. But also, I'm rather shy actually in person. And so I can joke with them, have fun, and that's what I'm here for.
Oh, all right.
Friends.
Wonderful. It's always good to find a guild where you're comfortable and can enjoy interacting with people. If you're not especially able to do so, out in quote-unquote real life, it's always fun to come to a place where you feel comfortable with folks. So great answer. Thank you very much. Alrighty, folks. Up next is Trixie Pin Void Wrench, nicknamed Trix or Wrenchy, ensign of the Gnomeregan Forever, a level 90 gnome warlock, and currently pondering the ways of fell wizardry. So wonderful. So, what do you enjoy about being in Gnomeregan Forever?
Well, like a lot of the others have said, it's a lot about the social link, the whole camaraderie and kind of thing. Because of some various problems that I have in real life, some mental, some physical, I'm not really able to get out and interact with people like how a lot of other people are able to do. So this is kind of my, for lack of a better term, my social link much of the general public. So I have this way of being able to interact and just joke and fool around, sometimes be serious, whatever the mood strikes. I'm able to be with these people, and I love that. I have that chance to basically be with people where normally I would kind of, maybe freeze up or what have you. Be able to kind of loosen up that way.
Well, that's wonderful. And again, as we just mentioned, uh, what's fantastic, especially about the WoW community, is that it's such a strong community, and you're able to do that. You're able to socialize with folks that, again, normally you might not be able to do so, and it opens up uh, that world, that social aspect of life. And so that is great. Wonderful answer, sir. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Kalimba, Ensign of Gnomeregan Forever, a level 90 gnome priest, and can currently always be found floating somewhere. Is that correct? Is always levitating?
That is correct. I am always flittering about on my fluffy cloud.
Okay, wonderful. And so, what do you enjoy about being in Gnomeregan Forever?
Well, there are a couple of things. First of all, just the idea of being in a gnome only guild. I think gnomes are relatively woefully underrepresented. We have yet to be in a Blizz cinematic or anything, and so the idea of what Forbes has put together here, I think, is something really special, and what we can accomplish just as a team of tiny people. And the second thing is as someone who hasn't really come up through the RP ranks, I'm pretty new to RP, and they are so welcoming and so open and helpful, and just willing to help me write an MRP profile, and just really super cool people with great forums, and so it's just an awesome community. Happy to be here.
Well, great. And, I do a lot of one on one interviews uh, with RPers, some that have been RPing for years and years, and others that have only started RPing. And one of the things that comes up time and again is when I ask what advice they would give to someone that wants to start RPing or is new to it, uh, and invariably, the answer is to find a good guild that will help you uh, start RPing and help you learn how to RP. And so it's great to hear that Gnomeregan Forever is one of those guilds. So
Yeah,
fantastic.
absolutely, and
Oh,
yeah,
go
it's
ahead.
no pressure. They don't really, they're not really super sticklers about it. And if you say something too stupid, or if you make some outlandish Mary Sue type of backstory, they don't drop the hammer on you. They're super inviting.
Wonderful. Excellent answer, sir. Thank you very much.
You're very well.
All right, folks. And so we have the commanding officer of Gnomeregan Forever, uh, Forbidda. Forbes, what do you enjoy about leading Gnomeregan Forever?
It's difficult to describe, but let me just kind of paint you a picture. When we go into a big scary place, whether it be Ice Crown Citadel or Ulduar or even Mogushan Vaults, and I've got a whole team of tiny troopers over there watching my back, and we go in and we do battle with something big and huge and tall and scary, and we cut it down to size. The feeling is indescribable. It's the best feeling I've had in my entire WoW career, because the pride, the pride in my race, of gnomes, accomplishing big things, pride in my guild for pushing their boundaries and accomplishing things they've never done before, and even pride in myself for having put this group of gnomes together and all the things that we've accomplished in that time. The feelings are just are great. They're the best, as I say, that I've ever had in playing WoW. And if there's one thing I would tell people, uh, you know, too often we get caught up in the day-to-day grind of WoW. We're working on those rep grinds. We're doing our dailies, and so often, we get in a zone and we stop talking to people. We're not socializing, and next thing you know, those people are saying, "Gee, WoW is really boring. I'm not getting it anymore. I think I'm going to unsubscribe and leave." If they belonged to a guild like this, if they ran a guild like this, eh, there's no way that they would even consider unsubscribing. And that's kind of my point. Is like, if you really want to enjoy WoW, if you really want to have those thrills, then you gotta push a little harder. You got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to introduce yourself to new people. And when you when you get amongst a group of awesome people like this, eh, you can't help but have fun. You can't help but you know, do things that really, stand out. You can't help but make memories, and that's really kind of what this guild is all about. We do things together and we have fun, and that's that's what it's all about.
Well, excellent answer, sir. And again, I say this pretty much in every interview, but I find it true no matter what guild I'm talking to. You can tell how a guild is going by the answers of the members within it, and and that always leads back to the leader of the guild. You can tell how well a guild is run, again, by how happy the members are. And it seems like everyone here really enjoys being here. And I think that all leads back to you, sir, in leading this fine, fine guild. Excellent job, sir.
Well, you're too kind, but I one of the things I want to try and stress is that, sure, I may be the person who got the guild charter signed, and I may have been the person who interviewed the members and came up with some of the crazy things that we do. But that said, a guild of one person is no guild at all. Okay, the credit for our fame, and the Wowhead article, and all the things that we've done, it's all down to them, our members. They're the ones that made everything possible. If it was just me, there's no way I could have accomplished even a tiny fraction of the things that we've done.
Well, again, I think that speaks volumes in your leadership uh, because, again, you take that mantle and you place it upon your folks, and I think that shows, again, the type of leader that you are. So, wonderful job. Excellent. And so, folks, when we come back, we're going to get some final thoughts on Gnomeregan Forever. Alrighty, folks, and we are back. And so, Forbes, is there anything that you would like to add that maybe we haven't covered in the interview about Gnomeregan Forever?
Well, there's one of the things that's so wonderful about this particular guild is we've got so many talented members. We've got members who can write, members who are good with art and what have you. And in particular, I'd like to call out Ensign Tredina here, off to my left, who is the well-known author of the Trigonometry webcomic series, which features gnome characters. And if your members are perhaps not familiar with that wonderful series, perhaps you could provide a link in your YouTube page, in the description perhaps, where they could find it. And she also does a wonderful Gnomeregan Forever comic strip as well, where she often puts the comic antics of our guild in visual form for others to enjoy. And I have to admit, I'm an avid reader because I definitely like those. We also have other members. One member who is not here at the moment, Cogling, does a Gnomish investigation agency webcomic series, which is also linked from the WoW Insider, and that's mainly it. I mean, you can, if you'd like, you can tell them about our the articles. We've had a couple of mentions in WoW Insider, and we can provide you with links for those if you're interested. And our website, if people would like to find out more about us, is www.gnome, the word gnome, the number 4, and the word ever.shivter.com.
Excellent. And I will certainly, and folks, you will certainly find all those links below in the description on this episode. So you'll be able to look all those wonderful things up. And I do love Trid's episodes. I love that comic strip. I read it all the time. And I think it's just fantastic. And I'm going to have to look up the Gnomeregan Forever strip as well. And so I look forward to finding that out also. Now, also, isn't someone at BlizzCon right now?
Haha, yes. Well, a recent applicant and new member of our guild is a little more famously known as Doodle Gnome, and she has an alt in our guild, and she is currently at BlizzCon at Blizzard's request, and she's enjoying the festivities there, and hopefully if you ever come back to see us, perhaps she'll be on hand and you'll be able to talk with her.
Oh, wonderful. And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't someone from the guild get the opportunity to ask a question at BlizzCon?
Oh, yes. Fixton. In fact, Fixton is here, is he not? Fixton?
Yeah, I'm here.
Why don't you tell us about that?
Basically, it was during their Q&A about anything and everything panel. I was just in the right spot at the right time. I happened to get in line early enough to be able to get my question in the time that they had. I led in with, the new expansion sounds good. Looks like they're doing a lot of good things. I'm excited for it. And then kind of rolled into, one of the races that doesn't have a whole lot of lore or really much story in the game is the Draenei, and then said, so when can we expect the same treatment for the gnomes? And they gave a little bit less than satisfactory answer for me, but they tried to play it off with humor.
As is the way. Well, hopefully, Blizzard in the future will address some of our issues as gnomes, and we look forward to that. Has everybody seen the new gnome models, and what do you think?
Spectacular.
Oh, they're fabulous. I mean, except for the fact
them.
that they maybe have too many toes. Yeah, they're spectacular. I mean, they're going to take gnomes from like 958 polys to over 5,000. So, and they're going to be fully rigged for lots of animations and emotes and what have you. So yeah, we're all of us are greatly looking forward to that. That said, that said, we're not going to let Blizzard off the hook with respect to, insufficient gnome hero and cinematic representation, our lack of sufficient playable classes and issues of that nature, because that's one of the things that we take seriously is to we not only represent gnomes here on Wormrest Accord, but we're on the forums, we're on Twitter, and we're sticking up for the gnomes. We're hanging with our people.
You bet. And Turwinkle's right there with you. And so, folks, when we come back, we're going to say goodbye to Gnomeregan Forever. And so we'll be right back with that. Alrighty, folks. Well, this has been a wonderful evening. I really appreciate everybody's patience here tonight and answering all Turwinkle's questions. It's been just a wonderful evening. I have really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Goodbye.
And we made it safely back to the hinterlands. I got to tell you, Turwinkle, that certainly was a wonderful interview, wasn't it?
Affirmative.
We want to thank the Gnomeregan Forever folks for taking the time to sit down with Turwinkle and I tonight and talk with us about everything gnome. And we just loved it. And so thank you so much, folks.
Thank you.
Yes, we really, really enjoyed that. So, folks, if you like this episode, click that like button. If you would like to comment on either Gnomeregan Forever or on any of our previous other episodes, please do so below. Let us know what we're doing right and let us know what we're doing wrong. We'd love to hear from you. And finally, if you'd like to subscribe, we would love to have you. So hit that subscription button tonight. Well, Turwinkle, you did a great job, sir. Excellent as always. I'm always so proud of how well you do with the questions. And so, Turwinkle, I guess we will see you next time, sir.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Turwinkle. Bye-bye.